Guidance on prescribing. General guidance. Medicines should be prescribed only when they are necessary, and in all cases, the benefit of administering the medicine should be considered in relation to the risk involved. This is particularly important during pregnancy, when the risk to both mother and fetus must be considered. It is important to discuss treatment options carefully with the patient to ensure that the patient is content to take the medicine as prescribed. In particular, the patient should be helped to distinguish the adverse effects of prescribed drugs from the effects of the medical disorder. When the beneficial effects of the medicine are likely to be delayed, the patient should be advised of this. Taking medicines to best effect. Difficulties in adherence to drug treatment occur regardless of age. Factors contributing to poor compliance with prescribed medicines include prescription not collected or not dispensed, PABs of medicine not clear, perceived lack of efficacy, real or perceived adverse effects. Patient's prescription of the risk and severity of side effects may differ from that of the prescriber. Instructions for administration not clear. Physical difficulty in taking medicine, swallowing the medicine, handling small tablets, or opening the medicine containers. Unattractive formulation, like unpleasant taste. Complicated regimen. The prescriber and the patient should agree on the health outcomes that the patient desires and on the strategy for achieving them, which is called concordance. Concordance. The prescriber should be sensitive to religious, cultural, and personal beliefs that can affect a patient's acceptance of medicines. Taking the time to explain to the patient and relatives the rationale and the potential adverse effects of treatment may improve adherence. Reinforcement and elaboration of the physician's instructions by the pharmacist and other members of the healthcare team also helps. Advising the patient of the possibility of alternative treatments may encourage the patient to seek advice rather than merely abandon unacceptable treatment. Simplifying the drug regimen may help. The need for frequent administration may reduce adherence, although there, although there appears to be little difference in adherence between once daily and twice daily administration. Combination products reduce the number of drugs taken but at the expense of the ability to titrate individual doses. Biosimilar medicines. A biosimilar medicine is a new biological product that is similar to a medicine that has already been authorized to be marketed. The biological reference medicine in the European Union. The active substance of a biosimilar medicine is similar but not identical to the biological reference medicine. Biological products are different from standard chemical products in terms of their complexity, and although theoretically there should be no important difference between the biosimilar and the biological reference medicine in terms of safety or efficacy. When prescribing biological products, it is good practice to use the brand name. This will ensure that substitution of a biosimilar medicine does not occur when the medicine is dispensed. Biosimilar medicines have black triangle status at the time of initial marketing. It's important to report suspected adverse reactions to biosimilar medicines using the yellow card scheme. For biosimilar medicines, adverse reaction reports should clearly state the brand name and the batch number of the suspected medicine. The following biological medicines are available as biosimilar preparations and should therefore always be prescribed by brand name: Epotin alpha, etanercept, insulin glargine, sumatriptan. Complementary and alternative medicine. An increasing amount of information on complementary and alternative medicine is becoming available. The scope of the BNF is restricted to the discussion of conventional medicines, but reference is made to complementary treatments if they affect conventional therapy, like interactions with St. John's wort. Further information on herbal medicine is available at website MHRA website. Abbreviation of titles. In general, titles of drugs and preparations should be written in full. Unofficial abbreviations should not be used as they may be misinterpreted. Non-proprietary titles. Where non-proprietary, like generic, titles are given, they should be used in prescribing. This will enable any suitable product to be dispensed, thereby saving delay to the patient and sometimes expense to the health service. The only exception is where there is a demonstrable difference in clinical effect between each manufacturer's version of the formulation, making it important that the patient should always receive the same brand. In such cases, the brand name or the manufacturer should be stated. Non-proprietary titles shouldn't be invented for the purposes of prescribing generically, since this can lead to confusion, particularly in the case of compound and modified release preparations. Titles used as headings for monographs may be used freely in the United Kingdom, but in other countries may be subject to restriction. Many of the non-proprietary titles used in this book are titles of monographs in the European Pharmacopoeia, British Pharmacopoeia, or British Pharmaceutical Codex, 1973. In such cases, the preparations must comply with the standard, if any, in the appropriate publications as required by the Human Medicines Regulations. Proprietary titles. Names followed by the symbol R in a circle are or have been used as proprietary names in the United Kingdom. These names may in general be applied only to products supplied by the owners of the trademarks. Marketing authorization and BNF advice. In general, the doses, indications, cautions, contraindications, and side effects in the BNF reflect those in the manufacturer's data sheets or summaries of product characteristics, SPCs, summaries of product characteristics, which in turn reflect those in the corresponding marketing authorizations, formerly known as product licenses. The BNF doesn't generally include proprietary medicines that are not supported by a valid summary of product characteristics, or when the marketing authorization holder has not been able to supply essential information. When a preparation is available from more than one manufacturer, the BNF reflects advice that is the most clinically relevant regardless of any variation in the marketing authorization. Unlicensed products can be obtained from special order manufacturers or specialist importing companies. Where an unlicensed drug is included in the BNF, this is indicated in square brackets after the entry. When the BNF suggests a use or route that is outside the license indication of a product off-label use, this too is indicated. Unlicensed use of medicines becomes necessary if the clinical need cannot be met by licensed medicines. Such use should be supported by appropriate evidence and experience. The doses stated in the BNF are intended for general guidance and represent, unless otherwise stated, the usual range of doses that are generally regarded as being suitable for adults. Prescribing unlicensed medicines. Prescribing medicines outside the recommendations of their marketing authorization alters and probably increases the prescriber's professional responsibility and potential liability. The prescriber should be able to justify and feel competent in using such medicine, and also inform the patient or the patient's carer that the prescribed medicine is unlicensed. Oral syringes. An oral syringe is supplied when oral liquid medicines are prescribed in doses other than multiplies other than multiples of 5 milliliter. The oral syringe is marked in zero point 0.5 mL divisions from 1 to 5 ml to measure doses of less than 5 ml. Other sizes of oral syringe may also be available. It is provided with an adapter and an instruction leaflet. The 5 milliliter spoon is used for doses of 5 milliliters or thereof thereof. Important. To avoid inadvertent intravenous administration of oral liquid medicines, only an appropriate oral or intral syringe should be used to measure an oral liquid medicine. If a medicine spoon or graduated measure cannot be used, these syringes shouldn't be compatible with intravenous or other parenteral devices. Oral or internal syringes should be clearly labeled oral or internal or enteral in a large font size. It is the healthcare practitioner's responsibility to label the syringe with this information if the manufacturer has not done so. Excipients. Branded oral liquid preparations that don't contain fructose, glucose, or sucrose are described as sugar-free in the BNF. Preparations containing hydrogenated glucose syrup, mannitol, maltitol, sorbitol, or xylitol are also marked sugar-free, since there is evidence that they don't cause dental caries. Patients receiving medicines containing carcinogenic sugars should be advised of appropriate dental hygiene measures to prevent caries. caries اللي هي الايه المشاكل اللي بتيجي في السنان. Sugar free preparations should be used whenever possible where information on the presence of aspartame, gluten, sulfites, tartrazine, arachis, or peanut oil, or sesame oil is available. This is indicated in the DNF against the relevant preparation. Information is provided on selected excipients in skin preparations, in vaccines, and on selected preservatives and excipients in eye drops and injections. The presence of enzyl alcohol and polyoxyl castor oil, polyethoxylated castor oil in injections is indicated in the BNF. Benzyl alcohol has been associated with a fatal toxic syndrome in preterm neonates, and therefore parenteral preparations containing the preservative shouldn't be used in neonates. Polyoxyl castor oils used as vehicles in intravenous injections have been associated with severe anaphylactoid reactions. The presence of propylene glycol in oral or parenteral medicines is indicated in the BNF. It can cause adverse effects if its elimination is impaired, e.g. in renal failure in neonates and young children, and in slow metabolizers of the substance. It may interact with disulfiram and metronidazole. The lactose content in most medicines is too small to cause problems in most lactose intolerant patients. However, in severe lactose intolerance, the lactose content should be determined before prescribing. The amount of lactose varies according to manufacturer, product formulation, and strength. Important. In the absence of information on excipients in the BNF and in the product literature, which is available at www.medicines.org.uk/EMC. Contact the manufacturer. See index of proprietary manufacturers. It's essential to check details. Extemporaneous preparation. Extemporaneous preparation. A product should be dispensed extemporaneously. Extemporaneously. Dispensed. A product should be dispensed extemporaneously only when no product with a marketing authorization is available. The BP direction that a preparation must be freshly prepared indicates that it must be made not more than 24 hours before it is issued for use. The direction that a preparation should be recently prepared indicates that deterioration is likely if the preparation is stored for longer than about 4 weeks at 15 to 25 degrees. The term water used without qualification means either potable water freshly drawn direct from the public supply and suitable for drinking, or freshly boiled and cooled purified water. The latter should be used if the public supply is from a local storage tank or if the potable water is unsuitable for a particular preparation. مثال water for injections. Drugs and driving. Prescribers and other healthcare professionals should advise patients if treatment is likely to affect their ability to perform skilled tasks, e.g., driving. This applies especially to drugs with sedative effects. Patients should be warned that these effects are increased by alcohol. General information about a patient's fitness to drive is available from the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency. A new offense of driving, attempting to drive, or being in charge of a vehicle with certain specified controlled drugs in excess of specified limits came into force on 2nd of March 2015. This offense is an addition to the existing rules on drug-impaired driving and fitness to drive, and applies to two groups of drugs: commonly abused drugs, including amphetamines, cannabis, cocaine, and ketamine, and drugs used mainly for medical reasons such as opioids and benzodiazepines. Anyone found to have any of the drugs, including related drugs, for example, apomorphine hydrochloride, above specified limits in their blood, will be guilty of an offense, whether their driving was impaired or not. This also includes prescribed drugs, which metabolize to those included in the offense. For example, siligyline hydrochloride. However, the legislation provides a statutory medical defense for patients taking drugs for medical reasons in accordance with instructions if their driving was not impaired. It continues to be an offense to drive if actually impaired. Patients should therefore be advised to continue taking the medicines as prescribed, and when driving to carry suitable evidence that the drug was prescribed or sold to treat a medical or dental problem, and that it was taken according to the instructions given by the prescriber or information provided with the medicine, e.g., a repeat prescription from the medicine's patient information leaflet. Further information is available from the Department of Transport. Patents. In the BNF, certain drugs have been included notwithstanding the existence of actual potential patent rights. In so far as such substances are protected by letters patent, their inclusion in this formulary neither conveys nor implies license to manufacture. Health and safety. When handling chemical or biological materials, particular attention should be given to the possibility of allergy, fire, explosion, radiation, or poisoning. Substances such as corticosteroids, some antimicrobials, phenothiazines, and many cytotoxics are irritant or very potent and should be handled with caution. Contact with the skin and the inhalation of dust should be avoided. Safety in the home. Patients must be warned to keep all medicines out of the reach of children. All solid dose and all oral and external liquid preparations must be dispensed in a reclosable, child-resistant container unless the medicine is in an original pack or patient pack, such as to make this inadvisable. The patient will have difficulty in opening a child-resistant container. A specific request is made that the product shall not be dispensed in a child-resistant container. No suitable child-resistant container exists for a particular liquid preparation. All patients should be advised to dispose of unwanted medicines by returning them to a supplier for destruction. Labeling of prescribed medicines. There is a legal requirement for the following to appear on the label of any prescribed medicine: name of the patient, name and address of the supplying pharmacy, date of dispensing, name of the medicine, directions for use of the medicine, precautions relating to the use of the medicine. The Royal Pharmaceutical Society recommended that the following also appears on the label: the words "keep out of the sight and reach of children." Where applicable, the words "use this medicine only on your skin." A pharmacist can exercise professional skill and judgment to amend or include more appropriate wording for the name of the medicine, directions for use, or the precautions relating to the use of medicines. Non-proprietary names of compound preparations. Non-proprietary names of compound preparations which appear in the BMF are those that have been compiled by the British Pharmacopoeia Commission or another recognized body. However, whenever possible, they reflect the names of the active ingredients. Prescribers should avoid creating their own compound names for the purposes of generic prescribing. Such names don't have an approved definition and can be misinterpreted. Special care should be taken to avoid errors when prescribing compound preparations. In particular, the hyphen in the prefix "co" should be retained. Special care should be taken to avoid errors when prescribing compound preparations. Special care should also be taken to avoid creating generic names for modified release preparations, where the use of these names could lead to confusion between formulations with different lengths of action.